What is up, everyone? Scott Brandt coming to you on this beautiful Saturday evening, coming up on Sunday morning here in about an hour. Today was a wonderful day. Today was a great day. I was able to go coach some young men in regards with flag football. And it was funny because the gentleman that runs the league that I help out with, him and his wife were talking. They're like, it just seems like everybody's energy is kind of out of whack. And then today, doing some different things when it comes to technology. And that just kind of bled into my experience with technology today. So Patrick and I had jumped on and recorded some audio aspects for some different things that we're doing. And it was one of those things that we're getting through it. And I would say we're probably about 2/3 of the way done on the audio. And all of a sudden he had left the live stream of the recording for us. And I was listening to the audio and he could hear me, but I can't see him. And the screen for him was the black screen of death, the circle of death, all that. And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Technology today just did not want to work for us. So it was very interesting because I was listening to the playback on the audio and he's listening and I can hear myself talk. And he's like, you can't hear me? I was like, and then he starts in a chat and whatnot. I was like, oh man, this is interesting. So it's just one of those days where everything just wanted to be a challenge. And it was a test of, did we really want to do it? I had to laugh though. But it also comes in regards to a different look with whatever you're doing. If something comes up and it's a challenge and you're like, man, this is crazy that things are just blowing up and it doesn't want to work for me. What am I going to do? You can either push through, you can get mad at it, or you can give up and then miss out on that opportunity to get your message out there to somebody that needs to hear it. And so just one thing to give heads up to everybody, and this is the other thing too, with COVID and launching our podcast, The Journey Beyond Divorce, that took some time. I do have the umbrella approach that it launched. We launched the first episode on Monday this week, and it's already on 4 different platforms along with Anchor, so a total of 5. For the Journey Beyond Divorce, it took 4 weeks for the episode to get put on another platform. And so it was just funny how just seeing the difference of how quickly it goes in regards to our first one. But then today, I believe, or yesterday, ended up getting notified that the Journey Beyond Divorce was finally uploaded onto Apple Podcasts. But when I look at the analytics, it was already showing that it was being heard on that platform. I was like, this is great. So it was about 3 weeks from it was showing up in analytics, and then it says, hey, here's your RSS feed, which is just the code in regards to the podcast and whatnot. But tomorrow morning, our next episode will be distributed out. I think I've got it set up for 7:30 tomorrow morning. So if that's something that you're interested on listening, just take a listen, jump on, hear what we talk about, hear about the journeys, the different tools that we've utilized. We're on several different platforms. Pretty much I've gotten to the point where I think if you have a platform that you can listen to podcasts on, you can find the podcast. And so that is myself and Marion Wilson is the podcast that we host, and that's The Journey Beyond Divorce. We're close to 250 listens total for the podcast, and we've talked and actually have expressed this to our family, our audience that's listening to the podcast, that once we hit that, the 10th person that gives us feedback on our show, whether that's good, bad, different, indifferent, whatever it is, we're going to send a book to that individual. And the first book we'll send is the book that's really helped out Miriam, and that's Everything is Figure Outable by Marie Forleo. But ultimately, if you know individuals that are going through that divorce process or dealing with potential of the separation piece and whatnot, share the podcast with them because we've gotten great feedback from individuals that it's something that really needs to take place. But that's where we've got to look at situations differently. And so kind of brought this to my attention was last night we got together as a group, the Something for Everything community, that we have a Facebook group, and there was a picture that was taken. And so I was told I was a little loud, and that's naturally who I am. I'm just very loud. But this picture that was taken there, the waitress was reaching across for something, and her hand was positioned right under my face. And I started laughing. I was like, I must have been too loud, because it looked like she was slapping me from coming upwards and whatnot. So I was like, yep, you know what? So a picture, you just never know. I had to joke. I was like, I must have been too loud. She wanted to slap me because I was just being loud and whatnot. So I had to laugh. But it's one of those things that you look at a picture that way. But it's also when you look at different situations, how you see different things. And so I did get a book today. And so it's a different perspective in regards to sexuality, and just something that can potentially be beneficial to both male and female. And so it's one of those unique things that when you're getting out, reading different things, listening to different things to expand your mind, because if you want to be a well-versed individual, you've got to look into different avenues, different lights and whatnot. But it's one of those things that just came across it through my coaching intensive. It was a book that was recommended. I was like, all right, let me go check it out. So just from what I've read, it's very, very powerful, different perspectives and whatnot. But there's a couple of things that really, really have a profound impact here. And this was a quote that I had written down, and I just came across it today. And it said that if you devalue yourself, you will devalue others. And so that's one of those things that we have to really get into the point. And you've got to look at yourself and understand the value and the worth that you have, the message that you have. Because if you devalue yourself, you're going to find ways to devalue other people. And so and I've talked about this, that you as an individual have to complete yourself. And so this comes into a point where you've got to love yourself. You can't rely on somebody else to give you that love that you need. You've got to love yourself, complete yourself, and then you can go and give love to other people. But you have to do the work. And so it's just one of those things that when you hear that saying, I know for me, it's one thing. It was probably about 6 months ago, maybe. Hey, what's up, Mike? Hopefully everything's going well for you, brother. But it was one of those things that I came across, and I'd written it down a couple months ago, and then it came up today, and I was like, man. And Frank Sinclair had posted something on Facebook. So it's just one of those things that things kind of line up. And so somebody, I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to hear this message and hear that statement right there, that if you don't value yourself, if you're devaluing yourself, you're going to devalue others. And so this whole looking at things differently, looking at it from a different perspective and whatnot, there's a quote here from the book Limitless. And so this is by Wayne Dyer. He said, there's one grand lie, that we are limited. The only limits we have are the limits we believe. And so you've got to really look at that. What limits are you putting on yourself? And it's not anybody else that's putting these limits on you. It's yourself. So you have to question what you're telling yourself. You have to question the stories that you have inside your head. And it's one of those things that it's tough, because that's a muscle that if you're feeding on negativity, if you're believing those stories that don't serve you at any level, they're not serving a purpose for you and they're drawing you down. This is going to be a very tough workout by working on your mind. And so it's stated that your mind is like any other muscle. You've got to continue to work on it. So that's the thing. If you go to the gym and get a 6-pack abs, you're not going to stop working on that. And so it's the same thing with your mind, that once you start shifting your mindset, you start shifting the way you look at things, you still have to continue to work on that. And so that's where you might get to the point and be like, yep, I'm good. These limiting beliefs aren't there anymore, but you got to continue to work. And so that's the thing I've heard is stated before through one of my good mentors and leaders in a company that I work with. He had talked about that for every new level, there's a new devil. And so you got to think about that as you're progressing, as you're getting to different levels, there's going to be different things that are going to pop up and stop you. And so a lot of times that's going to be yourself and the stories that you tell yourself. And that's the importance of why you really need to be mindful about who you surround yourself with. You need to be mindful about how you speak to yourself, because I've had individuals that will say, oh, that was a joke. Well, I understand that you believe it's a joke, but what's happening is your subconscious is speaking. And so what you're speaking is going to lead to it's your thoughts. Your thoughts are going to lead to your feelings. Your feelings are going to lead to actions. Your actions are going to lead to results. And so if you're joking that you're a piece of garbage, or if you're joking that you're like, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I didn't get that, it's your subconscious is speaking out. Your subconscious doesn't know. And so think about that. If you are saying that to yourself, how do you feel? And so if you're saying, oh, I'm so stupid, you're probably feeling like a piece of garbage. You're probably like, oh man, I can't do anything good. And then what does that do to your actions? You're like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do that because I just don't think I'm smart enough to do it. And then what are your results? What's happening to your results? And so you got to look at it. And so that's where this limiting belief and whatnot, it's the biggest lie you can tell yourself. And a lot of times your limiting beliefs are going to be based on yourself, based on the stories that you're telling yourself, based on the beliefs that you're holding on to, that because you're scared. And it's one of those things that you've got to question. You've got to push past your comfort zone, and questioning your beliefs is going to make you push past the comfort zone. It's going to be scary because these beliefs have held you in your little box wherever you're at. And so if you're questioning, you're pushing past, you're getting out of there, and it can be scary because you don't know what's on the other side. But once you get past your comfort zone, once you get past the fear, that's where life really starts to grow. That's where life really takes off. And so there's one of these things, it's another saying, and it comes into play where it's how you look at stuff. And so do you have challenges that are coming up in your life right now? How are you looking at those challenges? Are you embracing those challenges? Are you excited for those challenges? And it's I look at it because I've talked about it, and I've talked about being grateful for my divorce taking place. That was a challenge. The mindset piece, everything. Like I've had to work on myself. I've had to work on the mindset piece, and it wasn't easy. And there's still days where I may fall back a little bit just because of whatever took place and whatnot. And so, hey, what's up, Chris? Excuse me. Hopefully everything's going well for you, man. Yeah, last night was great. Friday night, yeah, we're coming up that, but that was great, man. Just get to meet you and hear a couple of individuals' stories. It was a wonderful thing just to be able to get together and whatnot. But this is, let me see here. This is dealing with challenges, and I have to laugh. So this quote is hilarious. Oh, ye who can't take a good rub, how will you ever become a polished gym? And so it's one of those things. If you can't take the rub of a challenge, if you can't take the push and the effort to get over that, how do you expect to elevate your life? How do you expect to be a polished gym? Because the challenges are there to rub off the impurities. The challenges are there to burn off those rough edges to allow you to be the person that you need to be. But you've got to embrace those challenges. And so I do have, there's 10 things that you need to be mindful about when it comes to your energy, because your energy will lead into a lot of these things. And so there's 10 things that you've got to be mindful about. And so if it's one of those things that you're like, man, 10 things that I need to be mindful about to protect my energy, reach out to me. Send me a private message on Facebook. More than happy to share these 10 things. And one of the big things that I will tell you, so the list of 10, one of those things in this list of 10 is your sleep. And so for me, I'll tell people, and people know, for me, I'm all over the board when it comes to my sleep patterns and whatnot. And so that's something that I'm working on. It's not easy because I've gotten into a habit where I can go for 5 hours of sleep and still run and do what I need to. But sleep is one of those things to protect your energy. And so there's 9 other things on this list that you got to be mindful about. And so, like I said, if you'd like that information, this list, just to kind of focus and see what may be something that you have to work on to increase your energy, to protect your energy, like I said, reach out to me. Send me a private message. Do what you need to. If you've listened to the podcast, there is a email address in there that you can reach out to us. But also, like I said, for the podcast, if you know individuals that are going through a divorce or have gone through and they just feel stuck, send the podcast to them. We also have a Facebook group, but that's one of those things. It's just creating this community, creating a space, and it's in regards because when I went through it, I was like, man, if I would have had somebody I could have leaned into and kind of helped me get through the different mindset pieces, the different stories that I was telling myself, it would have been a little bit easier. But I'm grateful that that didn't happen either, because it's led me to where I'm at now, and it allows me to fulfill my passion, my purpose to bleed and give value to other gentlemen that are going through it. Because as guys, we truly suck at getting out of our own way and really expressing our emotions and showing the vulnerability and transparency. It's something that we got to be mindful about. And so that's where my heart's at, is with individuals, gentlemen, especially that have gone through a divorce or are in the midst of it. Because a lot of times we're stuck, we're on our own little island and we believe nobody's gone through it before, but plenty of people have. But then you look at it and there's people that will get through it, get into another relationship. They haven't done the work and they're going through the whole vicious cycle over again. And then they have another divorce under their belt. And you'll see some people that will have 4 or 5 divorces. And it's because you look and they haven't done the work. And that's not easy, because you're having to look at yourself hard in the mirror and say, what do I need to do? What am I missing out on? What am I not working on to adjust going forward? Or what things were in the previous relationship that was a red flag, and I'm not seeing them again. I'm not seeing them still. And I'm just falling in the same vicious cycle, the same trap, and just really hating life, because it can be a tough thing. But that's something that, if that's something that you need to talk to, you need somebody to be there for you, give you your space, help you to get through those feelings, and just kind of work on yourself to make sure that you're in a better position going forward. That's another thing. I'd love to sit down and talk to you, help you out, see what I can do. Because ultimately, just from my experiences and just being open and transparent and vulnerable with people has been a beautiful thing. It's allowed me to do big things. So, yep, you too, Chris. Have a great night, man. So, but other than that, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for your time. Love you. Peace. Have a good night. All right, later.